Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting show. This week, I posted on Facebook already. Another very exciting show this week. Not this week, but this morning or this afternoon, whoever it is. But this is Breakfast with Dr. Coder show. I know it's late, but it's going to give me an opportunity to talk about a very important topic. We're going to talk about things to remember when you're in a dark place, things to remember when you're really struggling. I think this can be a lot that can benefit a lot of people. So we'll go ahead and get into it. But before we start, you know the drill. Go ahead and let me know what your name is, where you're checking in from, and then let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, Crystal, what's going on? Leisha, how you doing? We got Sky. What's up? What's up? Cheyenne, I appreciate you. Kendra, what's up? Hey, Elias is. Lee, I like this. I appreciate y'all. Almost broke my thumb trying to tap in. Thank you so much. Sakura, I appreciate you. And I want to post more content about autism. And I will. We got Rudy from Austin, Texas, Christine from Orlando, Florida, Julia from New Hampshire. What's up? What's up? We got Tina from Louisiana. Okay, people checking in from all over. Kansas City in the house. Mississippi Gulf Coast. All right, let's get started. Zoe, sit down. Leisha, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate you. Skylar coming in from a dark place. Ours, Skylar, let's talk about it. Someone says, I'm not sure what I clicked. This is the best live on the internet. That's what you clicked. So I'm not sure how you got here, but I'm happy that you're here. So relax. All right. So let's talk about it. Things to remember when you're in a dark place. So the first thing I want to talk about before I bring up the actual first point, because I have a dual monitor setup where I can bring the points here. But the first thing I want to talk about is when you're struggling, there's a lot of shame that you feel like when you're struggling, or you may feel, and it may lead to isolation. And it's the isolation that I think that makes it hard to go out and get help, right? We all talk about getting, James. All right. When I say dark place, pretty much when you're struggling, right? Dark place, whatever you mean, wherever dark place means to you is like, hey, I'm struggling and I have the awareness that I need to get help, but I don't know where to start. So I'm kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place, right? So when you're struggling like this, like I said, understand that, hey, I'm somewhere that I don't want to be, but that there are the tools necessary to get me to the place that I need to be, right? Pretty much what I want you to have is hope. All this revolves around hope. And Nick says, embrace the suck. It's funny because you mentioned that. I have that same phrase in my book that's coming out in December, but that's let me stay on topic. But I was like, oh, Nick must have been reading my mind. But anyway, back to the topic. When you're struggling, as we all do, because we all struggle, like it's human to struggle. If you can come together and recognize, hey, I'm struggling and maybe other people are struggling and this is a normal thing. Let me not be ashamed of who I am and my struggles, and let me not be defined by my struggles. Then you're more likely to go out and get the help that you actually need, right? And Nick says you're not alone. I completely agree. We're not alone, right? And the brain does a very, very funny thing, right? I tell you all the time, do not believe every single thought that comes across your head. Sometimes your brain will trick you into believing that you're the worst person in the world, you're alone, nobody cares about you, nobody's gonna miss you if you're not here, those types of things. So it's very important to first of all understand that we don't have to believe every single thought that goes across our heads, right? Rachel, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Jenny, well, I'm sorry that you're struggling right now, and things happen for a reason, and I'm happy you're here on this live. And now that you're here, I'm going to do my best to provide you with value, and everybody else who's watching too. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me read some comments first. Zoe, what's my dog doing? Every time I get on live, my dog wants attention, so she's like under my bed. I don't know what she's trying to grab. All right. Being in dark places is the worst. I still struggle with isolation. Leisha, and I think it's a very natural thing, to struggle than immediately be like, I want to isolate, right? Because depending on the nature of your struggle, it can be difficult to, talk to somebody, because you might think, okay, this is weird. Like, I don't know if other people are going through this, but you're waiting for somebody else to bring it up before you start. Almost midnight. And Rebecca, I'm happy that you're able to catch us in time. Zoe, relax. Zoe, relax. Oh my gosh, this dog is ridiculous. All right, so my first point about things to remember when you're in a dark place. Let me put the first point in there. All right, it's okay to not be okay. Right here, number one. This is the first thing that you have to remember. Right, it's okay to not be okay. What kind of dog? Zoe, come here. Zoe. Well, she's a disobedient dog. We'll start with that. She doesn't listen. All right, but it's okay to not be okay. That's the very first thing that you want to remember. It's okay if you're not where you want to be. Sometimes, not that all the pressure comes from this, but sometimes when the idea of who you are doesn't match, when who you are, like in the present, doesn't match up with who you thought you would be at that point in time, it can lead to some depressive type of feeling, right? You think, oh, I should be further along, or I shouldn't be struggling with this, or I shouldn't be going through this, or I lost so and so 7 years ago. Why am I still thinking about this? I thought I was over this, or like, they switched up my meds. I'm so struggling. Like, we're going back and forth, right? Sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to be in a certain place, and that pressure, pressure can be good. Pressure can be helpful. External accountability, things like that can be helpful. But when you put too much pressure on yourself, you remove that human aspect of life where you're going to struggle, right? It's not a matter of like if you'll struggle, it's when you'll struggle, right? Like, something is going to happen to all of us at some point where we have to sit down and be like, damn, I gotta figure out what to do next. Like, that's life, It's not a matter of like, I hope nothing bad happens. Like, bad things happen and good things happen, right? So as they happen, you know, understand that, okay, I'm not okay right now, but it's all right. I'm gonna figure it out. That's a powerful first step. And I never really knew how powerful that was, until I kept reminding myself, like, if I'm struggling, hey, it's okay to not be okay. Like, you're struggling right now, we're in a funk. We're gonna push past it. Like, you have to literally remind yourself, almost like a kid. It almost seems like not something that we would do as adults, but you almost have to remind yourself to just like take a deep breath, understand that it's okay to be where we are right now, but it's not okay to stay there, right? I say all that to say that it's okay to be where we are right now, but it's not okay to stay there. We don't want to stay in a dark place, We don't want to stay in a place where we're hopeless and helpless, and those bad thoughts start to overwhelm us. We don't want to stay there. But if you are there right now, understand, okay, cool, I'm here, but I'm gonna dig out this whole watch, with the help of my family members, with the help of friends, with the help of a good support system, with the help of a therapist, with the help of a prescriber, with the help of people. It takes more than one person to get the job done. Zoe, come here. Zoe, come here. Zoe, come here. My dog does. She's doing everything that she can to try to get attention. Ridiculous. Colleen, my lives are normally Monday at 6 a.m. the breakfast show, Tuesday night at 6 p.m. PST, and then Thursday night 6 p.m. PST for the late night shows. So one breakfast show a week and then 2 late night shows. But I've been going live a lot more often this week. So I've just been throwing extra lives in there because like I have something I have to say. I'm like, let me hop on live, right? All right. Let me answer a couple of questions before I move on to the second point. What if everything is so hopeless, including your environment, that is your family members? All right. Well, Nicholas, let's talk about it, right? Well, what if everything you feel? Well, what if you feel everything is so hopeless, including your environment? All right. So if you feel like everything is hopeless, including your environment, then you're probably in a place where you're seeing a lot more negative than positive. You might not be seeing any positive, honestly. But this is what I will say: find that glimmer of hope, like whatever. Like right now, Nick, if I were to ask you, what are you hopeful for right now? What are you grateful for right now? What makes you smile right now? Like whatever you're excited about right now, highlight that thing. It might be something silly as video games. It might be like, drawing, painting, whatever it is, right? But whatever is keeping you alive, hold on to that thing, and let that thing turn to a passion and maybe look into it more. But also, another very important point is if you don't have an immediate circle around you, do you have an online family, right? We talk a lot about social media being toxic, and like I understand that there's a point where you can be on it too much, and even for me, like I'll limit myself, but you can build a powerful community online, or like even the people here in this chat, like introduce yourself, let us know where you're from, let us know what you're into. Maybe you'll find a friend on the street, maybe you'll find somebody who plays video games like you. But what could be very helpful is community. Community is a very powerful thing. Please repeat the live times slower so we can write them down. All right, I'll type it here for you all, but I'll post it on Facebook one more time so that way y'all see it. But don't get confused if I go live more throughout the week. If y'all like the lives and I have free time and I just hop on here, don't be confused. Like I'm not the best of following schedules. My ADHD is I'm all over the place. Oh my gosh. Monday 6 a.m. PST, Tuesday 6 p.m. PST, Thursday. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Perfect. All right. Staying in a dark place and alone for too long is the wood to build the fire. There are times it's too hard to control when that fire needs to be put out. The psych talks. Alicia, so let me go ahead and give Alicia a love of the show right here. Yee! So it's funny because I look at myself like a firefighter, right? And I'm not sure what other psych docs look at themselves as, but I look at myself as a firefighter, right? Whether I'm making content online, like I look at all the questions. Okay, people want to know about, like I'm reading the side, bipolar, ADHD, borderline personality, or anxiety, whatever you say. I'm like, all right, cool. This is what people want to know about. This is how I figure out how to take care of the problem. Likewise, when a patient's in front of me, okay, what's the issue? Boom, boom. How do I help out? It's how I step in, So, never forget how powerful professional help is. Like we're here and we want to help you, like I'm speaking collectively on behalf of all mental professionals. And if there's a mental professional that doesn't want to help you, then then they suck at their job. I mean, what are they doing? They should retire. They should quit, right? They should quit. But Dania, I have an Australian Shepherd, a very disobedient one, but she's a cute one. All right. Kendra, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, let me answer this question, and then I think my DoorDash is here. I'll answer this question, go scoop up my food, and then we'll talk about my last 2 points. All right. How can you explain to someone who truly tries to help you that if you are not okay and honestly can't even move, that there's no way to just get up and start? Ooh, Sarah, good question. Ooh, good question. And thank you all for the questions. Let me say it before I answer the question because it lets me know, it allows me to read the room more and figure out like what, I should focus on with the content or what people really need. But for someone who is trying to help you, and how do you explain to someone who truly tries to help you that if you're not okay and honestly can't even move, there's no way to just get up and start? Well, I think the issue here is coming from trying to get them to see where you're coming from, right? If you are depressed, right, and of course, depression comes in different like types. But if you're depressed and like I know with depression, it's likely that you may slow down, like you may start to move slower, things become harder, right? So you're not like you don't have that like extra kick in your step, like you're not just doing things, you're just kind of like trying to get through the day, pacing yourself. Maybe your posture is like bad, and then you feel like you don't have a lot of energy, right? If that's where you are, trying to explain to somebody like, oh, like I'm not okay. I'm just tired. I'm burnt out. The explain to somebody is causing you more stress, right? You're trying to explain to somebody where you're at, and they don't understand it. They may be the best person in the world, but they just don't understand depression, So trying to explain to them is going to cause you more pain. So the best you can do to them is let them know, hey, This is where I'm at. You may not know like that this is like how this condition is affecting me, or this is my situation, but this is what I need, right? So the key is you being able to speak up and say what you need. I just need somebody to just hear me out. I just need somebody to just hang out with me in my dirty apartment. You don't have to help me clean it. You don't have to judge me. Just look, watch a movie. Let's get some pizza. I know my place is dirty. I know the dishes are not done. I know the bills are not paid. But let's just hang out here for a second. Like, just support me and just be here with me right now in the present. Right, just doing it just like that. I think that would help you out, because if you're in a dark place, trying to explain to somebody that you're in a dark place, like that's the reason why some people isolate, because it's like what's the point? Like for me to explain to you, it's kind of like if I'm drowning, like if I'm literally drowning, I don't have time to tell you I'm drowning. Like the water is like I'm engulfed in the water, and like all you see is like bubbles. Like I'm drowning. Like I don't have time to explain to you that I'm drowning, right? So try and take some pressure off of you and just figure out what you need, even if it's a simple thing, and how you can get that from the people that are around you. All right. And let me make a quick comment about this before I get to the next point. So Anitra says, "How do I deal with having three disorders: ADHD, bipolar, borderline personality disorder? So hard." So here's the thing, Anitra. I don't look at, or at least for me, right? If you walked into the office, right? If I was seeing patients and you walked into the office, I'm not looking at it as Anitra with ADHD, bipolar, and borderline personality. I'm looking at it as, oh, this is one person, right? Anitra, you are one person, and you have these three things. How do these three things affect you, right? Because of these three things, what are you able to do well? Do you get hyper focused and you're able to knock out a whole 1 week project in 2 hours? If so, good. How can we put you in a position to do more of that? If you have manic episodes that happen because you fly across the country 7 times a month, and it throws up your sleeping schedule. All right, cool. How do we account for that? If you have borderline personality disorder and you're having a hard time dealing with your mother because of childhood trauma, and like y'all going back and forth. All right, cool. How does this affect you, right? So it's more so individualized in each. I can't just be like, this person has ADHD, bipolar, and BPD. I think that's part of the problem, right? Because sometimes we'll get into the habit, and I'm saying we because I'm not perfect, but as providers, we'll get into the habit of looking at the diagnosis instead of the person. I don't look at the diagnosis; I look at the person. So sometimes when I see this question, I'm like, I don't know, like it's the person. Like I need to know the person and figure out how to help. It's all about the person, right? Because if you look at the diagnosis, the textbooks will tell you a certain thing, but textbooks don't account for like human to human connection, right? A textbook, like I have like 14 books right there. I can see a prescriber's guide. I have another one about differential diagnosis. I have one about clozapine for like schizophrenia. I have all these books out there, all these books in the corner, none of which are going to teach me how to deal with the actual human being, right? So it's about the human, it's about you in nature, and figuring out how you struggle with these things and how we can come in and help you out. And I hope that makes sense for you, because like a lot of people ask this type of question, and I'm like, hey, it's not your condition, it's you. I need to know who you are. I need to know who you are so I can help you. We can start a group chat or something. We could. Somebody was talking about a Discord. I don't know how Discords work, but I think I have one. I gotta look into it. I gotta look into it. You know, I don't know. I'm a little nervous to start a Discord. Like I know social media, but I'm like, ooh, it's a new thing I gotta learn. All right. Okay. Let me get to the second point. All right. So if you're in a dark place and you're struggling right now, this is the second point. And this one's very important. I'm not ranking these in terms of importance or whatever, but this is very important right here, right? This one's very important. The direction is more important than the speed, right? The direction is more than the speed. And so when it comes to Discord, I'm gonna maybe I'll maybe talk to Kendra and Leilani, see how we can figure that out. But the app, I see Kendra's comment. The app groupthink will be great for the community because it's a free app. We'll download it and we'll just get into groups and work on certain things. Like I'm waiting I'm waiting on a text message at any moment for updates on the app. Like, anytime my phone goes off, I'm like, oh, is that it? Is that it? Is that it? So Now, I appreciate you all for your patience, but I've also been waiting on the app myself. But direction is more important than speed, right? If you're struggling and if you're in a dark place, don't try your best to get it all back at once. That's going to cause more frustration, right? Like, I'm struggling, boom, boom, boom. I need to, like, a perfect example is, let's say you're coming out of a depressive episode and you're just now starting to feel better, right? You're starting to catch up on your text messages. You're starting to talk to people once again, all this good stuff, right? Don't put so much pressure on yourself to get back out there. Like, there's no rush to, like, clean your room in one whole day, text back every single person, try and reestablish all those friendships, trying to explain for why, like, you couldn't stay in contact. Like, take it easy, catch your breath, take a deep breath, right? Direction is more important than speed. And a good example of this is me. Whenever I would go to the gym, after, like, maybe not going to the gym for like 2 weeks, right? Like, I rolled my ankle because I played in, like, non-basketball shoes, dumb idea on my part. But I rolled my ankle and I had to be at the gym for 3 weeks and I hated it. And when I finally got back in the gym, I was like, I gotta lift all the weights. I gotta, and then my workout buddy was like, hey, bro, just relax. But that's a bad habit of mine. And even my little brother, we would work out after taking, like, a small break. And I would go in, I'm like, all right, I want to run 6 miles today. I want to max out 225, 240. I want to just lift weights. And they're like, hey, relax. You just got back in here. Like, you can't lift all the weights in one day, right? So the direction that you're headed in is more important than speed. So if you're in a low place, right, let's say I use this remote right here, right? Let's say this is a energy meter that we have, right? And let's say you're at 30%. Might be a bad example, but let's say you're at 30%, right? And you've been struggling, so you're right around here. But we work on your mindset and you're starting to feel better, right? And you start to get a little bit better. Even if you're getting, like, a little bit better, you're still moving in the right direction, right? You might not have, everything where you need it to be. You might not feel, like, extremely mentally healthy. You might still self-sabotage every now and then. You might still indulge in negative self-talk. You might still do things that, you might still do things that if you came to this live and you're like, yeah, Dr. Kojo, I hit up that toxic ex or whatever. Things that, I wouldn't give you a love to show for, but I'm not going to judge you for it, right? Because as long as you're moving in the right direction, I think we can be proud of that, right? Let me get to some of the comments. Angie says, send you love, hugs, peace, and power. I say, okay. I'm not sure what the last part means, but I'm assuming it's something that's cool. Facebook algorithms are telling me I have ADHD. Karen, I appreciate you. I appreciate it. This whole community. I can't talk. Community that we built here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I really, really do. Going on 6 days sober. Please pray for me. All right, let's go ahead and give Nancy a love of the show for 6 days sober. That's what we do around here, Nancy. We encourage people. And if you've been struggling with your sobriety, any period of time, 24 hours, 72 hours, 48 hours sober, is something that you should celebrate, right? Because that's how you get to 6 years sober. Every single person that has been sober for 6 years started off on day 6 at some point. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then they went to day 356. Oh, I got a year. You do over and over and over again, right? So congratulations to you on that. I love this show. And Nick says, I'll be doing this soon too. Yeah, look. So Nick, we can all, how we have the whole concept of, like, maybe anticipatory grief, like you start to grieve before the thing happens. We may even start anticipatory celebrations where we start to celebrate because our mindset is in the right place, right? Like, maybe you're not sober yet, but, like, your mindset's there. So you celebrate the fact that your mindset is evolving to allow you to be the person that you need to be. That makes it easier for you to be sober. If that makes sense. I hope y'all follow me on that one. Yeah. I like that. Just take it one day at a time. Just take it one day at a time. And let me get this quick question in, and then I'll do the last point. Advice for someone who has ADHD who's starting a new job. Thank you in advance. Ooh, it's a good question. Wow. So whether you want to disclose your diagnosis to your employer is a personal decision, Salem. That's between you, your employer, and God. Like whatever you want to do. But I would say with this job, early on, try and figure out what parts of the job you like and what parts of the job you don't like, right? Because whatever you like at the job with ADHD, you'll probably be a rock star at it, right? That's the good news. That's the good news. And I know normally you should do the bad news before the good news, but that's the good news. The bad news, right, is that the things that you struggle with, you might really struggle with them, right? I'm not saying that you're gonna suck at the job, but if like you have to balance checkbooks as part of your job and you really suck at that part, you may have to really take some time and like focus and then clear the distractions, like turn everything off and do that one thing because it's hard for you. And the things that you naturally do with ease, you can do them whenever, right? So I would say take some time out of the day to do like the harder stuff, and then just let your mind go as as it goes, right? The ADHD brain kind of does what it wants, So we have to kind of bring it back in and be like, all right, hey, I'm trying to stay focused. I'm trying to stick to this one thing, So that's my advice for you. All right, now let me get to the third point. Actually, let's go ahead and do the water break. Somebody drop the magic word in. Because if I keep the shows to around 30 minutes, I can do multiple shows today. And I'm trying to do multiple shows today. All right, so I'm gonna copy and paste the last point, and I'm waiting for somebody to drop the magic word in the chat. I love doing that. I usually find money or outfit that I need. Okay. Hey, Missy, I see you. Cheers. And Claire, give me a second and we'll talk about that. Cheers. I see Leilani there as well. Cheers. All right, y'all. I'll go with the spicy water. Y'all know I like sparkling water. All right. That's the thing. That's the thing about sparkling water. It goes down to something else. I always keep the regular water nearby just in case. I'll get the food. See, I forgot about the food. All right, well, I'll get the food in 3 minutes. Thank you, Cassandra. Yeah, the ADHD is kicking in. Thank you. I appreciate you. See, that's how it is. Like you just, you forget about things and you'll get to it after the fact. And for me, like I talk about celebrating the wins and not beating up yourself. If the worst thing that I do today is, I forgot my food and I went back to it 3 hours later and the food was bad, I'll take that over missing trash day, right? And having to pay $200 to get the guy to come take the trash out. So you win some, you lose some. It's the bubbles, yeah. the bubbles just throw you off. All right, let me. Yeah, I'm about to look at the Doordash, Kinsey. Yeah, I'll end the stream around 30 minutes, so I'll go get it. But thank you for reminding me because I may have forgot about it for hours, literally. I could have forgot about it for hours. But somebody had a quick question. Let me get to that question. Something about resources for ADHD therapists or something like that. I can't find the question, but what I will say is you can go to Psychology Today and type in like providers near me, therapists near me, and just do a Google search and look at their qualifications and their specialty and see, who do they treat? When are they, treating people? Are they accepting new patients? So that's probably where I would start. All right. And my last point about you pinned a comment. I'm not seeing the this street. I may have to open up like the StreamYard one and also Facebook as well to see the pinned comment. I'll probably start doing that. But yeah, right here, patience is important, right? So if you're struggling and you're you feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, patience is important, right? Even if it's not a mental illness, something like burnout, like I've seen it take, weeks to months to get people to recover from burnout, right? So if you're not where you want to be, it may take you a while to get there. And sometimes the lack of patience could frustrate you on your mental health journey, right? It's not the fact that you're not where you want to be, but you're not getting there as fast as you want to get there. And that's causing you some stress, which is not necessarily mentally healthy, right? So patience is very important. If you're struggling and you're going through a hard time, just understand that there's going to be a time when you're going to be experiencing elation and joy. Like, that's life. You have these wonderful moments, these all-time moments, and you're enjoying. Like right now, I'm connecting with you all, so I'm having it like a high, like I'm enjoying. But then you have awful moments, you have tragic moments, you have moments of grief, and then you have everything in between, right? So if you're struggling and you're towards the bottom of that spectrum, and you're like, all right, I'm really going through it, understand that there's going to be a time when you're up and you're also enjoying life. And even then, you have to understand that, okay, life is good right now, but good times come and go, bad times come and go. But it's about what we're doing for ourselves, right? Because we can only control ourselves. We can't control other people. So it's about controlling yourself, and surrounding yourself with the people who can put you in the best possible position to win. Yeah. And let me see. You want to write down? Yeah, you're right. It might not be a bad idea, Kenzie. Like for me to just literally write down on this sheet paper, write food, right? A little ass sign that says food. I just know I can forget it. You're right. You're right. You're right. And that might seem like a kiddie thing, right? But I don't care. Like I'd rather have my food, and not wake up in 3 hours after taking like a small nap. Those naps where you're like, all right, I'm gonna take a little 3 hour nap, and then you never say 3 hour nap. You say I'm gonna take a 5 minute nap, and you wake up and it's 4 hours later, and you're like, oh my gosh, the food is bad now. The food's bad now. All right, and Sadie, need to see this. Thank you for being so inspired. Love seeing the lead post. Sadie, I appreciate you. And thank you to the community. Like obviously, I give this my page, and that's where the content is at. It looks like it's like me, but it's really the community. If you look in the comment section, like look like play this live after the fact, or look at the reels or even the posts that I make. Just look through the comment section. And I think the one thing that's quite evident is that there's other people who are going through the same things that you're going through, right? And they're still doing their best to go about their day-to-day affairs, and they're making it. And that's why I love the internet. You get to stay connected with people that like you've never met. Like, like we're supposed to be strangers, think about it. Like we're supposed to be strangers, but because of the internet and these platforms and Facebook and YouTube, like we can connect. And I'm grateful, because without that, I would never have known that other people are going through the same things that I'm going through. People are also door dashing food and forgetting, like these relatable things. It helps you feel more human, right? And that's one thing about struggling. Like when you struggle, you feel subhuman, because you feel like a human should be able to take care of themselves, be neat, brush your teeth, take showers regularly, go to work on time, pay the bills on time, take care of the kids, and make sure you cook, all this stuff, right? But these things all require effort, And I wish somebody told me that as a kid, but people are like, no, this is what you do. And I'm looking around like, hold up. So every single person out here is doing these things with ease and success, and nobody's struggling. And then we start to tell the truth. I'm like, all right, okay, it's not that bad. Like we're human. We're gonna make mistakes, right? Rocco. Week. All right. Okay. So appreciate y'all for the live. Let me go get my food. Take Zoe for a walk, and then we'll come back for another stream. We're gonna have the next stream is just gonna be a Q&A, right? So we're gonna have a Q&A, and maybe about like 20-30 minutes. So bring your questions. I'll come back, same thing, but the screen will be red. So bring your questions. I'll be looking to engage with you all, and I'll see y'all in about 30 minutes. And I will go get my food. I'll eat the food as well. All right, take care. See y'all soon.